You can probably tell from the crowd behind me, in this city you're almost never on your own. It's one of Europe's top travel destinations. Welcome to Prague, the capital of the Czech Republic.
Maybe you've been here before and taken a picture of one of these famous sites. The Charles Bridge, the astronomical clock, the cathedral or the castle. And perhaps you've even walked past this sculpture and wondered who this guy is.
Once just an office worker who wrote at night and published little. Now, a legend. Let me introduce you to Franz Kafka.
Kafka died over 100 years ago, but his books are still hugely popular today, especially among younger people. Just imagine waking up one morning and finding that you've turned into a bug. Crazy, right? That's the premise of Kafka's most famous work, The Metamorphosis. Prague was his hometown. He was born and buried here. Today, I'm walking in his footsteps.
I'm a Kafka fan myself, by the way. I've read quite a bit, but not everything. His mysterious, strange, and sometimes hard to understand stories kind of fascinate me, and clearly, I'm not the only one.
Every hour on the hour, people gather in front of the sculpture. That's because the head is supposed to turn for 15 minutes. That's what this sign says too. It's 10 o'clock, so phones out and let's see what happens. It's been 50 minutes now and he's still not moving. Maybe it's broken. It would have been nice to know. Instead, I'll just show you a clip from the archives. This is what it looks like when it turns. Cool, right? Next stop, the old town hall with its astronomical clock. Tourists gather here every hour on the hour as well. This time though, there is no disappointment. The show goes smoothly. Medieval beats high-tech. Amid the hustle and bustle, I meet tour guide Dagmar Dvorská. She's going to show me some key places from Kafka's life. But first, the most important question.
Dagmar, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Are you a Kafka fan?
Yes, I am a big fan. Most of all of his personality, to be honest.
Okay, more of his personality than of his books?
I mean, I like his books, but they're quite complicated. But since I started learning about Franz Kafka, I'm amazed by his personality.
Dagmar tells me that Kafka passed the town hall clock every day. It was on his way to school. He lived with his family right next door in this beautiful black and white Renaissance-era house called Zur Minute. Kafka lived here from age 6 to 13. Next, we head to what's now called Franz Kafka Square. This is where he was born on July 3, 1883, the son of a German-speaking Jewish merchant family. The original house burned down at the end of the 19th century. Only the entrance remains.
How did Kafka see himself? As a German? As a Czech? Or as Jewish?
In this year 1910, 6% of the Prague inhabitants declared themselves to be German, and 2/3 of these Germans were Jewish. Kafka himself considered to be German and Jewish.
What was it like in Prague with all those people and all those different backgrounds, German, Czech, Jewish? How did they get along?
They were separated. These communities were separated, and also if there was an intellectual communities, the Czech would not interfere much with the German. But Franz Kafka was one of these exceptions that he would be visiting also and speaking also to the Czech intellectuals. So, because he was open-minded and he had some different setting.
This is the former German school where Franz Kafka graduated from high school. The institution was considered very strict and it was located in this palace. Kafka had to study a lot of Greek and Latin, but he was apparently a good student, but not when it came to math. Next, we move on to the historic Charles University. It was founded in 1348, and this is where Kafka studied, but not literature, as you might expect. He studied law at the insistence of his overbearing father. It was a profession that promised a good income and social status.
So he studied law. Later on, he worked in an insurance company,
Yes.
and was writing, but with a full-time job. Where was the time for writing?
He didn't have family, so he had time for writing. He was also traveling a lot. He would be willing to write, but he was not sure about the success. So occupation was something very common. This was how he gained money, because he would not be dependent on his father, and he didn't get money from his writings. So
After this short city tour, we head across Charles Bridge to the Kafka Museum. Here you can dive even deeper into the author's life and his inner world. The historical footage is really interesting. This was Kafka's Prague. Diaries, letters, photographs, and first editions of his works are also on display.
Take a look at this. This is Kafka's very first book from 1912, Betrachtung, Contemplation.
A particularly vivid chapter is about women in Kafka's life. He was engaged several times, but never married. His last great love was Dora Diamant. She was by his side when he died of tuberculosis in 1924. This is the last photograph of him. He was only 40. The museum allows us to take a journey into Kafka's inner world. The bureaucratic labyrinth, for example, is reminiscent of the novel The Trial. A man is arrested, but no one tells him why. He becomes a victim of bureaucracy, of a higher power he cannot overcome. Situations like this are what we call Kafkaesque today.
That feeling of being lost, of helplessness, it's still with us today. Crisis, wars, and the constant flood of information on social media. I think no one has captured that feeling better than Kafka.
We continue by tram. Above the city, next to Prague Castle, lies the small Chotek Garden, a hidden gem. Here I meet Judita Matyášová. She's a journalist, historian, and author. Her latest book is called With Kafka on the Road. She deliberately chose Chotek Garden as our meeting place.
This garden was one of his favorite spots. It's actually pretty beautiful. I thought that Kafka might have liked darker places. If you take a look at his books, you know, it's all pretty dark.
Yeah, usually people think he was sitting in some room and writing, but he actually really liked nature. He described in his diaries and letters he's walking in this park. He used to walk kilometers from center of Prague, and he was a very sporty guy.
Well, and regarding his books, the Nazis banned them, burned them, and even the communists later on put them on the index. Why?
For us, for Czechs, it's something very natural, because communists decided that they will forbid all the literature written by Jewish authors, and also Kafka was symbol of bourgeoisie. So Jewish author and bourgeoisie, it's completely no-go. But when communism was over, suddenly Kafka was everywhere. You could go all around Prague and in souvenir shops, Kafka on t-shirts and other stuff. So for us, it's something like from one extreme to another, like 0 Kafka and 100% Kafka.
I have the strong feeling that Kafka is more popular than ever. After the 100th death anniversary in 2024, there was a rise in popularity. How come?
He was someone who was like one person who felt like someone different from the others, and he was always fighting against the system. So this is something like general image until now. And I have students from America, from American universities, and they usually say, yes, he was this kind of stranger, a little bit weirdo, and we understand, we have similar feelings. But for me personally, Kafka was someone with such a great humor and sarcasm, and his interest into traveling, it's still inspiring for me. So this is what I really like with Kafka.
While I'm already up here, I walk over to the castle, a must-see for any visitor to Prague. And as unbelievable as it sounds, Franz Kafka once had a place to stay here briefly.
Kafka moved around quite a lot. He was always looking for an apartment where he could write in peace. The old town was just too noisy.
If there's one place in Prague today that is not associated with peace and quiet, it's the castle. But in Kafka's time, it wasn't a tourist hotspot. And kings or emperors didn't live here back then either. The palaces were used as administrative offices. And you might be surprised to know that in Kafka's time, the St. Vitus Cathedral was still under construction. It was only completed in 1929, 5 years after Kafka's death, after more than 600 years of construction. The crowds are dense in the Golden Lane, which is located within the castle grounds. It is said that goldsmiths and alchemists once lived in the small houses there, hence the name. In Kafka's time, ordinary people lived here.
In 1916, Kafka's sister Ottilie rented house number 22, soon letting Franz use it as a writing space.
Today there's a tiny bookshop here, run by the Vitalis publishing house. It publishes Franz Kafka's texts in multiple languages. I wonder if Kafka once had his desk right here where the cash register is now.
How do I have to imagine this place back then? I can see it's pretty small, so where was space for writing? Where was the desk?
Yeah, it's very small. The thing is, we don't know for sure how everything looked at that time. But if you imagine that this is very cold winter, it's getting darker, and in this atmosphere, Franz Kafka is coming to this house, locking himself here so nobody could interrupt him, even though nobody was around to interrupt him. That's what he loved in this house the most. And in this atmosphere, he wrote the book A Country Doctor, or originally Ein Landarzt.
Is this the best-selling book in this shop?
This is a bestseller for sure. Yeah, that's why we have it in a biggest amount of languages. Yeah, and because of our visitors, we are now preparing other languages, Turkish and Portuguese, for example.
Why do you think Franz Kafka is internationally so popular all around the world?
It's a good question. I think he speaks to the people, especially at the times when our life starts to be absurd, and we are not the one who are able to explain what is happening, and it's very about this feeling, the Kafkaesque feeling. Yeah.
And where do most of the customers here come from? What do you think?
All over the world, honestly. If you're staying here in this house for maybe 15 minutes, you'll see that this place, it has a magical atmosphere. Maybe not the same atmosphere once Franz Kafka was here, but still, it's amazing to see people, Kafka's lovers, all over the world.
Kafka would often go down into the city late at night. I head down too, this time to the Jewish quarter. The Old New Synagogue dates back to the 13th century. As a child, Kafka visited it with his father, though only on major holidays. Later in life, as an adult, Kafka rarely went to synagogue. Still, he was interested in Jewish culture and traditions as part of his roots. He even learned Hebrew and wanted to emigrate to Palestine, but his illness prevented it. There is also a Kafka monument in the Jewish quarter. He is depicted sitting on the shoulders of a headless, armless figure. Why? That remains as mysterious as his writing. What's no secret, however, is that it's a popular photo spot. For me as a Kafka fan, it's a must-see.
That's the end of our little Kafka tour in Prague. Are you a fan too? What's your opinion on his work? Feel free to leave a comment. I'm curious what you think.